Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Pot Smoker's Bible. My name is Zion. I'm the author of the Pot Smoker's Bible, which contains the prophetic book of Zion, where I get my name and authority. It comes from the Ketuvim, or Old Testament of the Hebrew Bible. I use the King James Version of the Christian Bible to put together the prophecy of Israel from the scattered bits and pieces of testimony from the various prophets of the Old Testament. What I came up with was the Book of Zion. But in order to publish the Book of Zion, I had to write the Pot Smoker's Bible as a commentary so that I could legally publish a book that I didn't write. The Book of Zion is written by the prophets, not by me. I just put the pieces of the puzzle together. And what I came up with was the most amazing book. And the means by which to bring God back to earth. A how-to manual. And in order for me to do my part to bring God back to earth, I'm publishing peace on social media by reading the Pot Smoker's Bible and the Book of Zion on social media. I'm on the 20th chapter of the Pot Smoker's Bible and the 17th chapter of the Book of Zion. It's called Neither Their Silver Nor Their Gold. And I'm going to take up where I left off last time. Their knowledge is lacking. They project only what they believe to be the facts, but being blinded by faith, by false beliefs, they use conjecture in place of evidence, and they don't know to look for the real evidence, because they have no way of knowing that they are missing the point. They are missing the point because they have polluted the sanctuary and have done violence to the law. The priests, preachers, and religious organizations have become something other than what they were intended to be. The sanctuary has been polluted. Temples were created to teach humanity to overcome their baser natures and to elevate their souls with knowledge, not with faith. Today's religions do no more than pay lip service to their God. They have done violence to the law. The laws governing America were based on freedom for all, but greed has taken over the policies that decide what becomes law. Where once our politicians protected our rights, now they have decided to line their pockets. They do violence to the law, violating its very spirit. The violence is centered around my people. The use of force is authorized by the law against my people. All moral considerations are put aside in regards to the test treatment of those seen as criminal. It's a drug culture of the poor and the minorities that are the targets of the violence in America. But the last verse in this passage is a statement of communion between gray and gray, which is human gray. Those of us who are not the strangers have the God of our ancestors to guide us. They are in our midst because they are in our minds. Teachers teaching us divine truth. Those who know the gray on high are in a state of communion with God. We who know God know right from wrong. We know to be ashamed. We meekly submit to the violence of the laws and the police that abuse us because we know how to feel shame. That knowledge comes from God. The strangers who can be compelled but not taught, on the other hand, know no shame. They, in their ignorance, go about their destructive ways. They stand tall and proud, boasting of this wealth, of their wealth, and their right to do as they please. Knowing no shame, they set themselves up to take a terrible fall because they can't hear God's judgment. And that will be their undoing, as is projected in the next passage, Psalms 129, 4 and 5. which is Zion 17:12 and 13. The Lord is righteous. He hath cut asunder the cords of wickedness. Let them all be confounded and turn back that hate Zion. Um, the Lord is righteous. He cuts asunder the cords of wickedness. They will all be confounded and turned back that hate Zion. Zion and her people know God, the great. Their ability to understand the inner speech of God has given them the means to overcome their enemies. They are taught through telepathy how reality truly works. To cut the cords asunder is not a metaphor, it is a thing. In reality, energy is power. True power is of a spiritual nature. To cut the cords asunder is to end belief in a thing. The knowledge given to me through the prophecy of Israel has already taught me how to end the oppression. I cut asunder the cords of greed and prejudice. That is the foundation of the war on drugs. The knowledge of truth always undermines that which is false. So, by standing up to challenge the lies and half truths of the prohibition, I can and will disprove the laws, and in so doing, I will overcome all who oppress the truth about my people. The only reason the war goes on is because those it criminalizes haven't yet stood up to cry foul to the state. So, when someone, namely me, stands up with the facts, and the current administration will be unable to refute it, the war will end because it had no right to be in the first place. That way, I being Zion can now use the facts to stand up for my people. The Grey designed it that way. They compelled the greedy to incite the prejudiced against the minorities. They then compelled the power hungry to use propaganda to create a gross lie that could easily be disproven by the Zion of the Most High God of Israel, and could easily, because she could easily disprove it. This was done to confound and to turn back all who hate Zion. The war on drugs was a means to an end, a way for the Grey to re-enter our society after being absent, after after a long absence that was unavoidable, which required the use of marijuana to be minimalized until their return. That necessity made the reintroduction of marijuana problematic. The prohibition of marijuana was the chosen way. It was doable because humans are easily confounded because of their primitive mindset. The mindset was the basis for the actions taken to reintroduce their native plant, marijuana. Which brings us to Zephaniah 1:18, Zion 17:14. Neither their silver nor their gold shall be able to deliver them in the day of the Lord's wrath, but the whole land shall be devoured by the fire of his jealousy. For he shall make even a speedy riddance of all them that dwell in the land. Zephaniah 1:18 is the passage that contains this chapter's title, because all of the money in the world will be useless when shit hits the fan. This society is founded on the concept of money. Nothing can be done here without it. Silver and gold are the end all of all that is in this age. But like the chapter's title says, no amount of fortune will save society from itself. Our society has already destroyed itself. Greed has killed all of you that refuse to believe the testimony of the prophets. There These aren't my words. They are the words held sacred by all of the religions based on the Torah. The moral basis of this society, a society that has followed the wrong path, the path of greed. The prophets are literally, that fire will devour all who reject God and refuse to give up their supposed right to live by their own imagined reality. The fire of God's wrath is a methane fireball caused by the use of fossil fuels. The fact that society, i.e., the state, has chosen to ignore the science and go on with business as usual has ensured their own destruction. Society chose to do nothing to prevent its own demise. There is no one to blame but ourselves, or I should say yourselves. Those of us who choose Zion and the gray will survive because we are going to go to our new mountain home and literally dig in. We will be creating for ourselves an inner mountain shelter that will house our entire population. We choose to prepare for a horrible event made possible by the people who chose to turn a blind eye to the damage they were doing to the atmosphere. I am told that this event is inevitable. We have no alternative but to prepare for the worst. I do not enjoy the knowledge that 2/3 of the human population will choose not to believe and condemn themselves to a fiery death. But it is their choice. Very few will be barred from Zion. Those who reject the gray will have chosen their fate, and as much as I hate it, I know the choice is theirs alone. The problem is, they will believe right up until the fire ignites that money will save them, or they will believe that Jesus will return, or they will believe that Allah commands that they kill the Zionites who are the evil incarnate, or that the gray are enslaving us. The point being, they will choose to believe in their own version of reality right up until the fire engulfs them. Now, those of us who choose the gray way, we will choose to create an inner mountain shelter just in case. We choose to believe the gray. We will build this shelter from scratch. We will use new technologies to become zero emissions. It will be easier to build new rather than to waste time revamping inferior products made in the USA. These things are designed to break down and thus to ensure a return of sales. No thanks. Zion's way can be better. We will use the tools, the techs blocked by the corporation, things like cold fusion and God only knows what else. Zion's way is to use the knowledge suppressed by society to build a better society. We have the technology to build a better nation. But salvation can only be for those who choose to address the science of climate change, as Amos 6:3 warns. And Amos 6:3 is Zion 17:15. Ye that put far away the evil day and cause the seed of violence to come near. Yeah, this warns those who put off the problems going about their greedy little lives. The end will be taken by surprise when events take over and it's way too late to save themselves. So may the gray watch over you, guide you, protect you, and keep you from all harm, and teach you right from wrong. May you be worthy of them. May your thoughts, words, and deeds reflect truth, good, and light, the unicorn way. Find your joy and pursue it. Make that your life's work, your guild choice. Stay happy and high. If you use drugs, you have every right and reason to. Believe me, I know I wrote the books. Believe me, I love you way too much to ever say goodbye, so I'm going to say later.